And part of the whole process with that is you got to get into the place, find out what containers hold the items, and then take them from that. But they need to be chilled because they're supercomputers, so you can't have them outside of the air long. You have to get them to a refrigerated truck, to
interesting.
steal them. That thing went south immediately, and it was a mess. Like, it was a very big mess.
Right.
Like we made several thousand mistakes, and the level went on probably longer than it should. In my defense, also, 2 of the 3 teammates were inebriated at that point in time. So
Well,
I'm
I
not
mean,
judging.
that's just a given, yeah.
It happens.
Yeah.
It is what it is. But we got the level done. It took ages, and it was chaos and anarchy for a long time. And then the AI got stuck in a wall, and it wouldn't help. So,
Great.
like, yeah, exactly. But it's one of those things where it's like, okay, we did it. We didn't do it exceptionally well. We didn't get the biggest payout we could get, because what part of this whole thing with these games is you make money by basically how you complete the levels. You take 3 bags out of the level, then you get the minimum payment. You take 10 out, you get a much bigger payment.
Okay.
You make more cash. More cash means that you can buy more stuff, more weapons, more cryptocurrency, which lets you get the premium items. So I'm not some basic like bank robbing bee like the other guys who've got like those blue gloves on. I got black gloves on because I want to blend in.
Right.
So I also bought a black like tracksuit looking thing, like a running jogger suit. I felt I was going to go down with my Liverpool roots and like get myself, exactly what it should be like.
Right.
Well, all the time we're unlocking new skills, new abilities, new weapons, new attachments. Like they have the I don't want to say the grind, but they have the treadmill built in place pretty solidly. So like there's masks that I'm looking at. It's like B rank 173 to get this mask, and it's like, dude, I'm 22.
Right.
Like
that's gonna take me a minute.
Yeah. But at the same time, I'm like, I could do that. I could get to level 73 and get the cat mask. Like that's something I think I could do. I just got the man in the iron mask and then put a big cross over it. So
yeah,
why not?
That sounds cool. I'm
having fun with it,
and it's nice to hear that. Like, I feel like we didn't necessarily get Payday 2. Like, it was hugely popular.
I don't think any of us really did.
No, and I'm glad to hear that now that you're trying it. Like, you're really getting why people really love it.
Yeah, and it's that thing as well. It's like that perfection as well. It's like, can we, as a team, go in and do this stealthily? Because the AI is actually pretty good about not breaking stealth until it's needed.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, I can mask up, and the AI by default doesn't mask up because the other 2 guys haven't masked up. So,
gotcha.
It's a really nice like trade-off there.
And I like the idea of having like a post-mortem after the mission where it's like, whew, boys, that went real poorly. All right, next time I think we can do X, Y, and Z. The snipers were up on that tower. Now we know that's going to happen. That sort of stuff is cool.
In the warehouse one that we really struggled with, there was a big building in the middle, and every so often 2 snipers would respawn up there, and if they got you, they'd put you down.
Oh,
and it was like, it was really difficult to do, but now we're aware of it, and like, it's one of those things where at the moment we're just playing it on normal difficulty.
Yeah,
there's 3 of us. We're not too concerned about any of the other stuff right now. But if it comes down to it, and then we're playing it on higher difficulties, then that's when we'll have the 10-minute conversation beforehand about like, okay, who's taking the med pack? Because one of these missions, I think it was actually the warehouse mission with like the loading yards. All 3 of us took ammo packs, and none of us took med packs or armor packs in.
Oh boy, okay. Gotta get your loadouts correct.
Yeah, like you can have the conversation and synchronize your loadouts and have a good time on that side of things too.
Right.
But I don't know. It's been genuinely fun so far. I'm liking how all of the different weapons are feeling. I just got a DMR with 0 in the magazine, but it's a pretty hard hitter, so I'm probably going to experiment with that a little bit, see how it does. I don't know. I'm having fun with it. A lot of fun.
It seems cool.
So much fun that it took up all of my hard drive space, and I had to install Darktide to a different thing, which now I have to figure out how I can move that over so I can eventually play that with my guys.
Right.
I don't know. It's fun. I'm having a lot of fun with this game. Like, give us again, if you see me on and you see me playing it, just give me a shout. Like,
Yep.
don't be afraid to just send me a message. Be like, "Yo,
You
can
might
I
have
join
room
you?"
in the
Because
party.
chances are we've only got 3. Even if the party says 4, we might only have 3 people in the game. That is an
Right.
advanced heads up, just so for everyone knows.
Yeah.
Other than that's all I've been playing. Boston, tell me about your JRPG of the week.
Yeah, Starfield.
Ah!
Still moving through Starfield here. I have finished. So I think we talked about it last week or 2 weeks ago. I'm trying to do all 4 faction missions and then go through the rest of the main storyline and kind of finish that up. Not for any real reason. I just kind of I don't want to like stumble upon. I guess I don't want to stumble upon the like point of no return thing and be like, no, I need to finish. Oh, okay. So I finished the Rangers, Freestar Rangers mission. Really didn't like how that wrapped up. I don't want to spoil it, obviously, but I think I thought the mystery was interesting because it essentially turned into like a kind of like investigation kind of mission. I kind of didn't care about the. I was talking about this without spoiling. There's like a group that you're dealing with as part of this that I just don't care about. And
Okay.
seeing that
Is
mission.
it Constellation? Do you not care about Constellation? Because I understand why.
Constellation is fine. I haven't dealt with Constellation for a while. But like I don't want to spoil it, but like by the time it gets to the kind of the crescendo of the mission, I was like, oh, okay, well I'm gonna make a decision. The game is really trying to make me not make this decision, and I'm going to make it anyway because I feel like the game is trying to. In the other quest lines, it was very much like, here are the consequences of these 2 decisions, because it usually comes down to 1 of 2 decisions. Make your best choice. And in the Rangers one, it was very much like, if you make this choice, all of these terrible things will happen. And it's like, probably not. I'm going to make that choice. And then I was expecting the game to sort of... Because, with a lot of Bethesda games, they want you to continue on this quest line or this mission that you're on or the main story. So you like kind of can't write yourself into a corner or like write yourself out of the quest. So I went through and I made that choice because I'm like, well, they're going to save me somehow. And they kind of saved me halfway, which is fine, but I think it didn't have the level of impact that maybe I was expecting it to have.
Okay.
Which is fine. I'm now on the Crimson Fleet questline, which is the last of the 4 faction. So like Nib said last week, the ship you get from finishing the Rangers questline...
The Mantis ship?
No, not Mantis. That's a separate questline. The one you get for the Rangers mission is really good, and it's really big. So I guess that's a reason to do it. I think you maybe... No, the other questline got me an interesting gun. But the ship you get is pretty good. So at the very least, you can just kind of like blow through that and get that done.
Okay.
I'm now doing the last one, which is the Crimson Fleet one, which is the kind of space pirates one.
I've been trying to figure out how to start that one for a while. Because I want to do that one first because I'm not interested in them in the slightest, so...
Yeah, it's not very good. If you look in your quest line, there's going to be like a red circular icon. That will be the Crimson Fleet one.
I still don't have it, is the problem.
I don't know how you start it, because it's weird, because you it doesn't start as a Crimson Fleet mission. It starts as like a UC SecDef mission or something. It's like a security and defense organization that needs your help. And once you go talk to them, then they're like, oh, we're actually going to have you infiltrate space pirates.
Okay.
Actually, by the way, I don't think we've ever talked about it on the show. We're watching it here on the footage. I actually really like the hacking minigame, which is like a thing I say about no video games, but
I like it most of the time. There's sometimes
yeah.
I don't, and that's not the game's fault. That's my fault for being too hasty.
Yeah.
But I think it's a pretty solid one. I especially like if you upgrade the lockpicking skill.
Yep.
It highlights the rings in blue when
that helps so
the
much.
specific locks can be put in it. That's one of the most underrated skills.
When you look and you start it, and it's a super high difficulty and it has like 5 levels. It's really helpful for me to say, okay, I can't use this one on this level, but I'm going to use it on level 4. So don't bother using it now. There's only like one level you can use it. That helps a ton. But my biggest problem so far, I really liked the UC Vanguard one. I thought that was good, and I thought the way they build up to the big choice at the end felt pretty good. I liked the Ryujin one because I think that questline was interesting, and I think the way you could resolve some of the final choices and influence, like do some corporate influence on that stuff, was really interesting. I think the Crimson Fleet one, the thing that drives me the most crazy is the game keeps trying to throw out gotchas because you're infiltrating the Crimson Fleet and they're all, I'm a space pirate. I'm evil. I'm going to blow stuff. I'm going to steal money. Bleh. And it feels like mustache twirly in a way that isn't super interesting. And they're trying to trap you in the normal conversation options you would usually give of like, absolutely, I'm super happy to help the team. And as soon as you say that, they're like, wait a minute, are you really a pirate? That sounds like UC talk. And it's like, oh god. So you also have to be like, oh, you think you're a cool pirate? I'm the best pirate. Jerk. And it's just like, oh god, okay. Like, so it's a little
I'm glad I'm done with Sarah Morgan. I'm just saying, I'm glad I completed her quest line, so I don't have to take care of that.
Yeah, she would probably not be super happy about what's going on. So me and my buddy Vasco are going through the stars, best friends, BFFs. So, like the rest of it, it's fine. Like it's not the worst writing. It's kind of like overwrought and mustache twirly, and it's okay. I'm doing like essentially like whenever they give me the next step of the quest, I'm stopping immediately where I am, opening up the quest line, hitting X, holding X to fast travel, and just getting on with it. Like there's literally no walking back to my ship. There's no exploring anywhere. It's just A to B to C to D. Like it is just going through the quest line. So Starfield is fine. We talked about it on Picking Up the Pixels yesterday, Musim and I. And I think we are all, you and Nimp included, kind of struggling with it in the same ways of like, it's fine, but boy, you could see where it could be way better at nearly every turn. And just like the number of systems you don't need to deal with at all or run into.
Yeah, and I will say, honestly, that's like one of the reasons I went deep into the base building aspect of things is because like I was just getting a bunch of experience points just for like building like stuff and experimenting with that kind of thing.
Okay.
So like I've leveled up unnaturally quickly because I've just been like, yeah, cool, I'm just gonna build this base and craft a bunch of crap on it for a while.
Right. I was going to do that, and then, everyone's talking about, well, you don't bring anything over to your other playthroughs, so it's like, well, why I'm not picking up anything, I'm not, like, scavenging anything.
Honestly, that would bother me if I had any intention of doing New Game Plus. Like, I've just got zero interest in it.
I don't either. Like, I will probably roll through once just to see the experience of it, but I'm not like, and this is the thing that Musum and I were talking about. It's a real bummer that Starfield doesn't have that level of discovery that we kind of naturally felt in something like Fallout or Skyrim or something, where you want to explore every part of the world because you keep stumbling over interesting things or cool dungeons or, you know, quest lines you just stumble over, or like a cool building that has a theme to it or something. Like, why is this building I run into full of cabbage? I don't know. Let's see if there's a cool book that, you know, the Cabbage Lord wrote or something like that.
Oh.
There's none of it.
I like reading a lot of history books in the game, and I do like reading those.
Yeah.
And like, the ironic thing is for me so far is I haven't done any of the major quest lines, but I have run into a few interesting like sub quests.
Mm-hmm.
I like, because I'm not too interested in the singular one-off quest, which is like you get to a planetary system and it's like, oh, we're under attack, please help. I don't care about that one.
See you later, bye.
But then you get the 4 settler families who
that was a
settled
cool
that
one.
place. That was a great mission. There's a missing we need new equipment mission on Mars, which I really genuinely enjoyed. It's dumb, it's stupid,
right?
But it's a really nice little thing. It's like, it was a guy who was like, yeah, get me 10 iron, please. And I was like, really? We're doing an MMO quest?
That's right.
In Starfield?
10 beaver
like 10
pelts,
iron?
please.
So I give him his 10 iron, but that started a quest chain. Like a big quest chain with like 6 or 7 quests in it. And I was like, I really liked how that quest line ended, because it give you a moral choice right at the end of it. It's like, this is the situation. Do you want to handle it A or B? How do you want to do it?
Right.
That quest line was great, but that started with give me 10 iron. Like, you've got to give people more indication that thing is going to be more than give me 10 iron. Like,
right. Because I'm not going to do that ever.
Yeah, exactly. Like, and it's just go in and then do a bunch of quests in the town and then leave.
Yeah, and like it's a bummer that the New Game Plus stuff sounds so interesting, of kind of investing in one character over multiple playthroughs and like getting more like increased quality of loot as you continue to kind of roll over your character through multiple playthroughs. I just don't want to do that in Starfield. I would do that in Fallout 3 or Skyrim or something. Like, you let me invest my character in Skyrim playthrough over playthrough. I'll probably play like a playthrough a year and be like, all right, yeah, let's do this. That'd be great. I just don't want to do it in Starfield.
I don't want to do it where there's base building. I don't want to do it where there's resources that you lose in that progression. It's like, that's one of the reasons why I hate the New Game Plus on No Man's Sky. It's the exact same problem.
Right. So it's a bummer, because like Starfield is fine, but you could see where it could really shine. And I just don't know how you get from this point to that point without having it in the oven for a couple more years. And I don't think that would have ever happened.
I think New Game Plus was a mistake. Like, just why? It does not need it. Like, it just doesn't. I mean, maybe you had a good idea for a concept for New Game Plus.
And it's cool, like, getting higher rarity of guns and armor and stuff, but for what? Like, what am I tackling? What end game stuff is there? Or, like, what optional activities can I not do in my first 1 or 2 or 3 playthroughs because I'm not geared enough? Because that even begs a question of, like, why do we have any rarity of gear then? Like, what purpose does it serve other than, ooh, I got an orange thing? And I'm susceptible. Yeah. I'm weak to that for sure, but, you know.
Yeah, and that's kind of... I'm fine with the rarity of stuff that I'm finding in the game. Like, I'm quite enjoying that. I do... It's really annoying that this happened in Fallout, and it's really annoying. Mm-hmm. But they have, like, those 4 different names that they put on the front of a weapon, depending on what quality of weapon it is. And, like, you don't start getting the higher one until you're like level 38, and it's like, okay, so I'm selling everything.
Right.
Like I think I'm like level 41 or 2 at the moment, and like
Okay.
literally I got 3 of the guns that I like to use.
Mm-hmm.
I had like 15 guns, and I got 3 of the ones I like at that top tier. They didn't have any specialness on them, or no blues or greens or purples or anything like that.
Right.
But their base damage was so much higher than anything I was using
Right.
that I was like, okay, well, I'm selling everything else, and I'm just going to go from here.
Yeah, it's like I have a
build up my
pistol that
armory
does
again.
12 damage. I have one that does 150. I know which one I'm going to pick. Like,
no matter what color each one is,
Yeah.
I'm going with this one.
right.
So,
Yeah.
yeah, that annoys me a little bit, and the fact that you can't mod existing guns up to that higher tier really annoys me, because they have
The whole
a
mod
mod system.
Like, the modding system seems cool on the surface, and I
And
really
you realize how many resources it takes to actually do it.
well, like, and I got to give them a lot of credit for putting so many of those workbenches in the lodge. I feel like so many games are like, yeah, man, I don't know, just find them in the world. It's like, no, just put them in the home base. But like,
that's the ship customization I did, by the way. It had the ship I bought had 2 crew quarters.
Mm-hmm.
I changed them to 2 labs.
Smart.
So that I could have the stuff that I need on my ship.
Right. But like it's so frustrating because the number of steps you need to get to from the idea of, oh cool, I can mod guns, all the way back to, oh, I need to put skill points in my skill tree to then do something to level it, to then feed stuff into a workbench to make the mods to do, like, there's so many steps in between. And because of things like New Game Plus, and because of your weight limit, and because of all this stuff, I'm not scooping up anything in the world. Why would I go scoop up a bunch of like bread and cheese and stuff to go research recipes at the cooking workbench when I need to carry guns and ammo and stuff? Like, it's all just, like, most of it just doesn't come together the right way. It's so frustrating because I'm not going to do any weapon or armor modding at all because it's too difficult, and it doesn't seem like it gives me any level of benefit for the one playthrough I'm going to do. So I'm just going to ignore the whole thing. And it's frustrating.
Yeah, that's literally where I stand too. Like, but that's why I'm not interested in New Game Plus, because like I feel like you fall on one of 2 sides of this line. You either are in for New Game Plus, and as such you don't care about everything else.
Yeah.
Or you're my side of the line, which is I'm never going to start a new game again, or a New Game Plus. So I'm just going to get all of the resources and have them in a place where I can use them, and then go down that tree and go down that experience and start playing with that kind of stuff.
Because I would be interested in maybe potentially going through and doing some of the base building and research and stuff like that, but it doesn't seem like from what people are saying, it doesn't necessarily seem like it's like, oh, by the time you get to New Game Plus 5 or plus 10 or something, then you've kind of hit the limit, and now you can maybe invest in more stuff or focus on doing skills or X, Y, and Z. Like, there just doesn't seem to be any level of guidance there at all, which is frustrating.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I don't.
It's rough in parts. Like,
yeah,
it feels like it wants both sides, and it can't. It's not designed to do both sides.
Exactly. Yeah. So I'm going to keep going because I want to see where, especially the main storyline goes, because I'm like kind of petering out on these faction quest lines. But I am genuinely curious where the main storyline goes. But I think as soon as I see credits, like, it's gonna get uninstalled, and I'm gonna move on, which is fine. Like, I don't need to play this game forever. It doesn't need to be my forever game. I just kind of wish that the playthrough I'm having is a bit smoother. So
I am probably going to do what I do with most Bethesda games that I enjoy, which ironically enough is not the Fallout games, but the Elder Scrolls, and then this.
Right.
I will probably get every baseline achievement and then be done with it forever.
Yep. and look at like the inhuman grind for the last couple of achievements and be like, yeah, I'm okay. No thanks.
One of them is like get to rank 100.
Yeah, like how am I going to level to 100? Like I've been playing for
But
48 hours and I'm
that's
level 38.
that's the thing is I'm level 40, 42 or something. I haven't. I'm like, cool. I'm just gonna. If I need that extra level, I haven't done any story missions. I haven't done any of the four factions quest lines. I haven't done any of that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So for me, it's like, okay, so when I need that final push to 100, just jump um into my bases again, I guess.
Right, and
I
start
don't.
grinding, I
Yeah.
guess. Yeah. I don't know. We'll see how I feel once I finish it. I'm trying to play it regularly enough because I feel like as soon as I drop it, I'm just not coming back to it because I'm not feeling that
Yeah.
pull to play it. But I do kind of want to see where this whole storyline is going. So, next game here, Chaos Head Noah. Still clipping along with this. We went through the whole getting everything set up discussion last week. So I've put a little bit more time into it this week. Two things are kind of surprising me here. Number one, the main character sucks real bad. I think when you look at main characters of other games, they're like slightly unlikable, but in a way that you can kind of see like, oh, they're just like putting on a front, or they're going to go through some sort of character development here, or things like that. The other thing too is I think within the first maybe 2 hours of the game, they kind of introduce you to the main mystery. Like they get to it very quickly. And I'm pretty surprised at how interesting it is. So basically, you're online and you're talking to one of your friends in the game. Somebody joins your chat room, but doesn't really say anything until your friend leaves, and then they throw out the kind of big line, the like, whose eyes are these eyes thing. And then they start peppering you with pictures. And when you open them, there's a string of killings that's going on around Shibuya called the New Gen killings. And it's tons of people are dying to them, and the police don't know what's going on, and the murders are horribly gruesome. Like this is like some of their other stuff. It can be pretty gory at times, and it's kind of all that people can talk about is the murders that are going on, and this person comes in and they send you a ton of pictures, and the one you open is of one of the murders that happen. But what you don't realize is after looking at the picture, you run across that murder scene the next day. So they're sending you pictures of murders that haven't yet happened, which is surprisingly pretty interesting. And the way that they sell it is pretty cool. So I'm enjoying it quite a bit so far. It definitely feels like this team's first game. It is like it's their first game in the science adventure series. But all of it kind of feels a little bit rougher than the other games. Like there's a lack of soundtrack overall. There aren't a ton of sound effects. Like a lot of the textures in the game don't look super great. But all of that is okay because the translation that that Committee of Zero team we were talking about last week is really good. It's a very outstanding translation. So, not too much more to talk about on this one because it's a lot of just getting into the kind of the beginning of it here. It's gonna be another 40 or 50 hour visual novel, so like 2 hours in is just, I'm still in act 1, so I'm barely scratched the surface. So
You know how long it's going to be?
it should be, I think looking at how long to beat, it's around 40 hours. most of their games are about 40 hours if you're looking to do like the true ending path. So usually it's like 30 hours for your first read through, and then the rest of it is you kind of have the game go on auto, and most visual novels auto just super fast forwards through stuff you've already read and then stops at new text or decision trees. So like you'll speed through the stuff that I'm reading through now in like maybe a minute, and it'll say, all right, here's a decision point. What do you want to do? And if you've made that decision before, it'll just speed through a whole bunch of stuff by itself. So it's pretty cool. So we'll see. Most of their other stuff has been about 40 hours. So that I think that estimation is probably about right. So can't say no. The only podcast on the internet talking about it, but it's still pretty good. Last game here I'm playing. I finished the most recent expedition for No Man's Sky, Expedition 11, I think it was. Have to give a huge shout out to the No Man's Sky community. So there's a bunch of these expeditions kind of always work the same way. There's like 5 categories of things to do, and each one usually has like 8 objectives in them. And you finish those 8 and you claim kind of each individual category. This one was especially weird because sometimes they focus more on, oh, this will be one where we're going to focus on base building and investing in your base. Or this one's going to be, we're going to do a ton of exploration or things like that. This one was largely discovery based. So you're trying to find a hostile planet that's over this percentage of hostility, or you're trying to find an animal that has like a super acidic blood of this level or higher, or things like that. So a lot of it you're just going to kind of find naturally, but I got to give a huge credit to the No Man's Sky community for most people are going to follow the same path through the universe that everybody else is, because you're trying to make it to waypoints. There's like 5 different waypoints that everybody is going to land at because they need to scan this one specific thing.
Yeah.
So I have to give a lot of credit to people in the community that find one of the objectives and then name their base like hot, angry animal planet land here. And it's like, okay, so I can get at least one or of 2 of those things perfectly. And it's like tall herbivore found south from here. And that's the name of their base. And it's like, perfect. Thank you so much, No Man's Sky community. You're the best. So I never really, you always get, for completing each one of these like larger objectives, you always get some reward that, you know, the anomaly, that big like circle thing that you can spawn and land into. There's a guy in there that you can talk to that where you can get your like Twitch drops rewards from, and you can get your expedition rewards. And there's always like jetpack trails and like posters and like plants you can make and stuff like that are rewards from this. I never really do it for that. I kind of always just do it because I like playing No Man's Sky. And I'm always like, I got all these rewards. That's cool. Anyways, moving on. So I bring that up because I don't know if the rewards for this were cool or not. I just like exploring space in this game.
Yeah, and it's a good game for it.
Louise, please. And the other thing that I thought was interesting too is I don't remember them doing this that fast in previous expeditions, but as soon as I claimed once you finish all of the 5 like overall objectives, there's one very final objective to claim that's basically like, I have finished the entire expedition. Once you do that, it kicks you out of the menu you were in and brings you back to kind of the main playing window. And it says, congratulations for finishing the expedition. we've now rolled this save over into a normal save. You can just continue to play, and if you'd like to, you can just continue to play with this character forever. And like, you don't have to wait for the expedition to finish. You just have a brand new regular save from that point on, which is cool, because I feel like before it was basically like, oh, you got to wait for the next couple weeks for it to finish, and then you can keep playing that character. So that's cool. That's a cool choice for them to do, and it's nice to see them just say like, hey man, if you really like this character, you really like the setup, keep on going. You keep playing this guy. So, man, No Man's Sky is great. It's exactly. Moon and I have been playing a Bullet Heaven game for We Roguelike It. It's called Spirit Hunters Infinite Horde. That and this game have been the exact like energy level and the exact vibe that I'm looking for in games right now. This kind of potentially stressful game, but usually not really. And it's something you can play without having to 100% focus on it, but you're still playing something that's interesting and fun. So both of these games are really great. No Man's Sky is good. If you haven't tried No Man's Sky, it's cool. You might not like it, but it's definitely something that you should try and give it a little bit of time to see if it clicks with you. And if it doesn't, I totally understand why. But if it does, it's a really cool thing. So, all right. On that note, that's all the games I'm playing. Let's take a break.
Yep.
Oh boy. Man, do I have a bunch of trailers to open up? I probably do. That's
likely.
Just 3. It's like not a lot of stuff going on this week, which is fine. And open that one. I actually don't need a trailer for that other one. Okay. I'm ready if you are. Oh, hold on. Let me close this blinds a little bit. Turning into a ghost.
Yeah. Oh, fucking Forza comes out this week, of course. Because I have space.
I certainly don't. Yikes. Good times, good times. Okay. Now I'm ready if you are.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Let's get started in 3, 2, 1. Let's talk releases for the week of October 9th, 2023. Forza Motorsport comes out on series consoles and PC. This is Game Pass day and date. Pretty obviously.
Guess what, folks? It's a Forza game. But this is the non-Horizon game. This is the regular game.
And from everything I've heard, this doesn't have any of the loot box nightmare that the last one had. Thank goodness.
Good.
Yeah, which means I'm going to play it. Because I didn't play... What was the last one? 7? 6? Whatever the last one was.
Yes.
I wasn't going to dive into that. Yeah. So I'll check this out.
My problem is I don't have 180 gigs free, or however big this is going to be.
It's going to be huge, man.
Horizon 5 was like 130.
Something like that, yeah.
I say, having seen it today.
Right. I will definitely check this out because I like the Forza games. Forza Horizon supports, or the most recent Horizon supports Dolby Vision, which my TV does, so it looks really good. I'm excited to see how that looks in this game, because this game looks genuinely really great. But I historically haven't really clicked with the non-Horizon stuff as much as Horizon does, because I kind of like the Horizon stuff a little bit more.
I like a party.
Yeah. Well, yeah, let's have a party instead of the history of racing.
Let me just fix that right now. I like a party in video games.
That's right.
In real life.
Don't invite me to a party. I'm good.
Yes, please. Yeah. Thank you. 3 or more people and I get nervous.
That's right.
Also, that Spa that he's driving on, by the way. I
Oh,
recognize
okay.
the terms from watching Formula One for so long.
There you go. Yeah, so I'm curious to see, because I feel like Forza has always had a problem, kind of like Gran Turismo has had, where it's all kind of a little sterile. It's all a little
Hmm.
bit boring, but I don't want it to turn into what like Dirt turned into, where it's like, hey bro, give me a like, comment, and subscribe. It's like, no, shut up.
Oh,
Oh, I just want to race. Like, I haven't seen too many games that kind of strike that balance super well. So I'm curious to see how they're gonna do with this one. But I'm excited to
I
try
would
it.
love for them. I would love for them to have like a single player career mode
Yeah,
where like you start in the karting and then you like slowly work your way up through the different classes rather than this. Like, don't get me wrong, I still like the current version of the career mode where it's like, yeah, buy a car, super up, do a bunch of races, buy another car, super up, do a bunch of
right.
races. Like, that's cool and all, but give me like the career mode where you take a voice acting and arguments and
Hmm.
everything else that goes on and the politics behind the scenes. Like, give me that.
I almost kind of want again. I think it was like Dirt 1 or 2. I don't remember. That had that pyramid where you had like, here's 15 different races or like race series at the bottom where you're racing in different types of races or different types of cars, and then those get faster and more difficult as you go up the pyramid. I liked that one a lot. And
Hmm.
I don't think I've seen that again in anything else. So yeah,
Yeah.
we'll see. I'm hoping to spend some time with it this week, and we'll talk about it next
Too
week,
many
hopefully.
games to play.
Yeah, for real. Goodness. Next up is a game called Salt Sea Chronicles. Comes out PS5, Switch, and PC. I am still not entirely sure what this game is. It seems to be like a kind of modern point and click adventure thing, like a walking type of thing. But watching the trailer, every time there's a new scene in the trailer, it seems like there's something else that's wildly different that's happening in the game. So I'm not entirely sure what this game really is. So I would recommend watching a trailer for this and seeing if you can figure out what's going on here, because I really can't. Sorry, Salty
Yeah, I don't know.
Chronicles.
I have no idea what's going on in that trailer.
Yeah, yeah. Looks cool though. It's got a cool style. Next up, Honkai Star Rail comes out on the PS5. We talked about this a while ago. Nimp and I played this when it came out on mobile. It is a MiHoYo kind of gotcha nightmare game, just like Genshin Impact is. So that probably tells you all you need to know. If you haven't played this, it is a turn-based RPG, not a kind of hack and slash action-y thing. But why is my watch going nuts? Jeez. Um, so I mean, I don't know. If you've never played one of MiHoYo's games, I guess if you don't have a problem with gotcha stuff, check it out and see if it's the thing you like. But it's really pretty greedy. So, if you do have a problem with any sort of gotcha things, I would stay away pretty seriously. So, I don't know. We'll see. I'm not going to check it out because I'm kind of over MiHoYo's thing. But, you know.
I'm over gotcha games as a whole right now, to be completely honest.
Yeah, I didn't think I was, and then that Final Fantasy VII one, which is like, hey, it's a gotcha game. It's like, for real? I'm out. Come on, man. Seriously? So, last game here that's getting a release is a game called Lords of the Fallen. This isn't Lords of the Fallen, though. There's a game that
It's
came
Lords
out
of the Fallen, but not as you know it.
Yeah, there's a game that came out a couple years ago called Lords of the Fallen that was a Soulsborne-like thing that seemed pretty well received. This was originally called The Lords of the Fallen for the sequel, and then they dropped the word that made it different for some reason. So they're putting out another Lords of the Fallen that's not a remake, as far as I can tell, and not a remaster or anything. It's a sequel that has the same name.
Okay, but what type of game is it? Is it a character?
It's a
game, a
Soulsborne.
Soulsborne?
It's a Soulsborne.
Okay.
Yeah. People seem to really like the first one quite a bit. It seemed like it was a well done one of those when there weren't a lot of them out yet. So I'm kind of curious now that there are way more Souls-like games out now that are all like Lies of P turned out to be genuinely really good, and apparently like one of the most inventive Soulsborne games in a long time. And Elden Ring came out this year that kind of like revitalized the genre again. So I'm really curious to see how this is going to review and what impressions are going to be, because I hope the market hasn't moved on from this game, but that's kind of as someone who doesn't really enjoy these games, I'm academically curious, sort of looking from the outside in. So we'll see. That's all our releases. We do have some questions here, because I didn't want to put any news stories because of gesturing at the industry's nightmares here.
And the world as a whole right now, dude. Come on.
Yeah.
Let's not just blame the industry.
Yeah, let's talk about some more interesting things here. First question is from Torx00. Says, do you recall a gameplay progression that took you by surprise? My example is Earth Defense Force 4.1, or at least a single-player mode. You can replay any mission you've cleared on a harder difficulty, which ups the quality of the weapon drops. So you play 10 or so normal missions, reach a mission where you just don't have the firepower you need, and then drop back and play earlier missions on hard. I actually really liked that when I played the, I think it was whatever the Earth Defense Force was. That was the first one on 360 that we got. I kind of liked that mindless grind you could do in that game to kind of level up to get to the point where you can do the harder missions. There was something about that like we talked about that treadmill earlier. That treadmill kind of really appealed to me at the time.
I got two-ish, maybe three.
Okay.
Kind of related here. Disgaea, number one. The first time I played Disgaea, and I was like, oh no, you can go in items, and every item is a randomly generated dungeon, and by going in the item, you make the item stronger. And then also, you make your team stronger, and then also you can then use the teaching thing to create people who are stronger than the people who created them.
Yeah, your apprentices can get stronger than the people who's teaching them, and then it's like, oh, but if you want that person to get stronger, you start them back over from level 1 and have their apprentice be the teacher to the... It's just like, oh, God. This is incredible, but please stop.
There was that one.
Yep, that's a really good one.
The first time I played a roguelike, so that's one of two games that I can think of. That was not that game that you like, Boston, fan. It was either, I always get this name wrong, Dark Death Devilman versus whatever his name is.
ZHP Undying Death.
Unlosing Ranger versus Dark Death Devilman. Thank you.
Yes,
you said the first part and I got the rest.
Yep. Teamwork.
First time I played that, which is by the Disgaea makers, but it's a roguelike. Or that weird Pokemon roguelike I played for the PlayStation, which I can never remember the name of. Where it's...
boy.
You know the one I'm talking about.
Yeah, I don't remember what it's called, but I remember. I remember the first game I played that was a roguelike where it really clicked with me. Like, I loved Toe Jam and Earl on the Genesis back in the day, but we didn't have the term roguelike back at the point. It's 100% that. But when we played Dead Rising, it's like, this game is too hard. It's like, yeah, you gotta die and start back over, and you'll start over stronger. And it's like, but what? Like, how does that work? How does that even make any sense? That put me
off that game for the longest time. That, and I only had a standard definition television, and that was one of the games that suffered from text gate. Or font gate, I should say.
Still continuing to this day, by the way.
Yeah. My final example of this is a very strange one. I don't know if it's a gameplay progression or maybe story and gameplay progression. But for all of you wonderful listeners who've been around for a while, but maybe not a super long time, let me tell you about this wonderful place called the Strange Reel.
Okay.
Now, the Strange Reel is the name of the universe and the lore behind the Ace Combat games.
Oh, yeah. Uh-huh. Yep.
Where everything's just a little off kilter, just a
Yep.
little difference. It's like this is a strange name, but that's clearly America. This is a strange name, but that's clearly Japan.
All of our
Um,
dogs are just pictures of dogs. It's very weird.
yes, but the gameplay progression in those is genuinely some of the stupidest thing and scariest things you've ever seen.
Mm-hmm.
Like you'll play the campaign, and you're like, "Cool, I'm in a jet shooting down jets. It's an arcade jet fighting game. Great, it's
Yeah.
fantastic." And then you
Nothing
get like
weird here.
nothing at all. Then you get like 6 missions in, and then the thing that Captain America crashes into the ice appears, and you have to fly down its railgun barrel to shoot
Yep.
it, and then time it perfectly so you're literally going out of the heat ejector of the barrel as
Mm-hmm.
it's about to fire.
Yep.
Like
I'm
that is
fighting
some of the
like
most insane stuff.
I'm fighting upside down pyramids from space, and everyone's acting like, "Oh, they're finally here. Cool." It's like, wait, sorry, what? What's happening?
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
The Strange Reel is appropriately named, and I do still
Yeah.
really miss it sometimes, where it's like I should
Yeah.
play the latest Ace Combat game because who knows what bonkers stuff they've thrown
That's
in
right.
that thing from that between the last time I
Yeah.
played it and now.
I couldn't even predict. I can tell.
There's a Wanzer in there now, except it's the size of Godzilla and you have to fight it.
That's right. That's right. Man, yeah, I don't. I'm trying to think of anything else. I feel like Dead Rising is like, for me, is probably the thing that like opened the lock in my mind about roguelikes, where it's like, oh.
Mhm.
So as soon as you start playing something like Binding of Isaac, you're like, oh, yeah, okay, yeah, I've done this before, sure. Um, Dead Rising's the
Yeah,
one that started it
and
all. It started this problem.
it's not like playing anything like that can cause a problem at all, right? You know,
Certainly not a collectible problem that's behind Moon or anything at all.
no,
I don't know if
not
any
in
of
the
mine are
slightest.
in the frame. Just a poop hat. You know.
Like, that's the worst thing. All of my stuff is there.
Yep. You got all the good stuff. You got the Guppy plush. That's the most important one.
Yeah, I don't know. Azazel's pretty good.
Yeah.
I just noticed that on top of Azazel is the facehugger plush that I have too.
Oh man. Late Elf sends a question here. First off, thank you, Torque, for your question. Late Elf sends a question. Do you have a kid-marketed commercial that lives rent-free in your head? It's been over 33 years, and I still remember the chintzy background music tone and, quote, over the rocks and through the mud, end quote. The ad that would play before the feature of Dino Riders tape I talked my parents into getting me. I had that in the first Computer Warriors VHS I could find, which was so cool. And I mean, look at this playset. Who could say no to this? And those high-tech graphics. He sent over a link here to the ad that I'll play in the background here. This is the one that I'm really interested in because you and I grew up in different continents. So there's some... But I feel like the thing for us here that was so popular was the Micro Machines guy. Did you have that?
That's literally the first thing that popped
Okay.
into my head because we also had the Micro Machines video games, which I don't think you guys had over here. Like the
I don't think
Genesis
they...
Micro Machines.
No, because
Oh,
we had RC
it's-
Pro-Am, and I think they were basically like, it's good enough. But it's not the
I'm
same.
pretty sure it was Micro Machines. You should see if you can pull up a video of the Genesis Micro Machines game because
Right.
it's like it's the same kind of concept where it's an isometric view, except you're like racing over pool tables and stuff like that. Like
Oh, yeah, I remember this game.
it's
Codemasters.
a really
Great.
not a good sign.
Yeah.
But like it's literally it's the thing that Grounded does so well, where it's like, yeah, you're racing on a path that someone who's just like sketched out of like
on their
a board.
desk. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and so you're doing ramps off folders. There's rulers, there's all kinds of other stuff. But like, I don't remember the commercial for them. I just remember the game. That's the scary thing about Micro Machines for me.
Mhm.
We definitely had it, but it didn't stick in my head that much.
Yeah, we had the Micro Machines guy that spoke at like a mile a minute, and he's selling you cool Micro Machines stuff, and he's speaking like I showed it to my daughter the other day because she's like, what cool commercials did you have when you were a kid? And I was like, I got to show you the Micro Machines guy, and she was basically like, what? the hell was that? It's
Uh-huh.
like, yes, first off language, but yes, you're not wrong.
Yeah. Um, I mean, I'm trying to think. Like, there was the usual commercials. Jingles always got me. Teenage
Oh,
Mutant
yeah.
Hero Turtles, by the way.
Yes,
Not Ninja.
yeah,
Thank
the
you.
teenage. Yeah, the wild, like,
So, for those
Europe.
of you who don't know, let me
Yeah.
just explain that really quick.
Yes, please.
So, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, as you guys know them over here, the England, Europe decided that Ninja was too aggressive, too violent of a
It was like a
word for the
ninja
market.
panic. Like, we had the
Yes,
satanic panic. You guys had a ninja panic.
nunchucks are illegal in the UK still, by the way.
Mm-hmm.
Just saying that off the top of my head.
Right.
So that whole thing happened, so they couldn't call it the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. So our theme was Teenage Mutant Hero Turtles.
Yep.
Because they had to be heroes rather than ninjas, apparently. Also, I'm pretty sure it's not Donatello. It's
Michelangelo, Raphael.
Raphael's the one with the nunchucks, right?
Oh, man. You know what's funny? I just played with the Thursday night crew. We just played the most recent Ninja Turtles game. I don't remember. That was like 2 days ago. I don't remember.
Donatello's got the staff.
Yep.
Leo's got the sword.
Right.
Raphael's got the kunai. Oh, not the kunai. The
yeah. So
pointed
it's
things.
Yep.
Yeah, he didn't have a weapon in our version. I'm pretty sure that got photoshopped out. Like I
That's
never
great.
remember. I never remember him having a weapon because nunchucks were not allowed to be shown. As far as I can remember,
So
he didn't
good.
have a weapon.
Man.
So that's a fun one. It's the radio walkie-talkies from ET all over again.
Yeah, exactly. Right.
I remember TV show commercials more than anything. There is one RC car that I remember. I can't remember it, but I remember like the rhythm of the commercial, where it's the RC car that's got the big wheels that are bigger than the body of the actual car itself, so it literally drives upside down.
Right.
And it did flips and continued driving upside down and so on and so forth. I remember that one. For me, it was Nightmare, which I'm pretty sure is something that you didn't have over here, Boston.
I don't think so, no.
Nightmare spelled with a K, by the way. So night as in nightmare.
Okay.
Nightmare was the kids' TV show where it was the stupidest thing ever, and I love this show. I miss this show. This show should still totally exist. It's tangentially related to video games because basically one person would put a helmet on and then go into the realm of Nightmare. And then they had two teammates who would be watching what they were doing on a screen and then have to describe to them how to make it through this puzzle, this maze that they were going through. And they had a time limit.
Sure.
So you'd be like, okay, two steps to the right, rotate 90 degrees to the right, go forwards. It was like a real life point and click adventure.
It's like Keep Talking and Nobody Explodes for the 80s.
Yes,
right.
But everything was all green screen, and it was this hilarious because you'd have actors dressed up in like jesters outfits who are very clearly standing on a green screen. Who would like communicate with the character, the person who was in the knight's helmet,
right?
And then, I say knight's helmet. It turns out it's just a big old thing with horns on it. But they couldn't see out of it, so all they could hear was what the kids were saying.
Wild.
And hear what the actors were doing, but the kids could see what the actors looked like because they were looking at it through a television. It's just a big old green screen point and click adventure.
It's like a big old green screen room.
It was so stupid, but it had the good old church bong in the commercials for it, which, you know, a big old church bell essentially. And the only other thing was Games Master, but Games Master was something special all by itself because that had a scientist pretending he understood video games. Which
is something wild. I mean, what's interesting about Nightmare is we had a show here in the US that I feel like was famous for a little bit called Nickelodeon Arcade. And it's essentially the kids were in front of a green screen but they were walking like up and trying to like climb ladders in the environment to do things in the game, but like all they could see was kind of the projection on the TV, but they were dealing with stuff in the green screen itself. Like, it was really wild, pretty strange stuff that they were getting up to. And it was a lot of like, how can you get up the ladder? Like, just avoid the robots. Don't come down. Like,
Yeah, I'm sorry, Nightmare is so much better than that.
Yeah, Nightmare was quite a bit better. It was 3D,
it was
man.
Production in
Nightmare. Yeah, like, how could you...
There was guys in outfits.
Yeah, like, how could you not deny... I mean, if there's a similarity for the US, it'd probably be a little bit like... what was that Aztec-themed show? Basically, you're going through... It was very similar to that, but...
I know exactly what you're talking about because I've seen a couple of people do like parodies of it.
Yep.
This one that you're looking at now just makes me think of Aladdin, which is not a good thought. Like the video game Aladdin.
Yeah. Oh man. Yeah, it's really wild at how much that stuff sticks with you for like 30, 40 years of just all those jingles you've heard. Yeah.
Out of curiosity, do you know what Games Master is? Have you never heard of Games Master before?
No, I've heard of it before because I feel like it's fairly maybe infamous. I don't know if famous is the right word for it, but I feel like it's in the list of like, look at what people were talking about for video games in the 80s. Isn't that wild?
Yeah, because it was literally the show I watched to get my latest trailers and news and everything else. Like, that was the show that I watched when I was a kid to get all of that stuff because the internet didn't exist.
Yeah. And then eventually we had stuff like the G4 TV, like X-Play and stuff, which turns out was way more offensive when it came out than I even remembered. People a couple months ago were posting less than great clips from that show, and I was like, boy, that's way more offensive than I thought it was at the time. Sheesh. Goodness. You guys should have known better. Yikes. So, I don't know if that answers your question, Late Elf, but good times. Good times have now.
My problem is like the reason I don't remember a whole lot when it comes to stuff like this, I remember theme tunes and stuff like that mostly because I'm the youngest kid, so I didn't ever have control of the TV, so I never wanted to be in the same room that the TV was on because it wasn't anything that was on for me. Right. And then when it was something that was on for me, it was when I was not at home and I was watching the Thunderbirds and Captain Scarlet and the Mysterons, which...
The good stuff.
Oh boy, there's some good stuff right there.
Yeah. Oh, goodness. All right. Well, thank you, Torek and Late Elf, for your questions. Appreciate you sending those in. That means that we're done with this episode. Thank you very much, everyone, for listening. If you'd like to visit us, you can do so at tvgp.tv. Everywhere to find and follow us is on the right-hand side of the page, including a link to the Discord server. Hang out, be part of the best community on the internet over there. Get a link to a YouTube channel. If you... We talk about it every once in a while, probably not as much as we should, but everything that goes on the public feed has a video component to it as well. So if you want to see, especially for this show, we try not to talk about it too often, but we have kind of gameplay and stuff running in the background. Talked about it more this week because of just the topics we're talking about. But you can get all of that over there on the YouTube channel. Like, comment, subscribe. That stuff genuinely does help. It is a meme, but it actually does work. And talk about it again, patreon.com/E1M1.
The ones are numbers.
You can support us over there financially. Remember, the $5 tier is the recommended one. That gets you everything. Tell your rich friends. Tell them, number one, to pay their taxes, but then also to support the Patreon, because we need their money more than they do. Let's be honest about it.
Yes, Louise needs to go to the doctors, and I need your help to provide for my kitty
How
cat.
can you deny this adorable face? Look at that. See, another reason to watch the video version. Louise is adorable. You get a little bit of cat there. Can't support us financially. Totally understand. We're also millennials. We don't have any money except for debt. So you can support us by telling your friends. Like we said, be the annoying friend that's always like, "Oh, let me tell you about the show." Oh, it's just started playing when I was in the car. Haha, that's so weird. Anyways, so be that friend. Tell people. Word of mouth really does help. Rate this show wherever you can. 5 stars. Whatever the max rating is great. If you have a less than great rating, just like open your window, yell it to the neighborhood, and then don't rate on the internet. All of that stuff really does help, especially for discovery. That's how shows like ours gets better. We don't have Conan O'Brien money or Conan O'Brien fame for being famous in the first place. I didn't write for The Simpsons. I don't know about Moon. I'm gonna assume not. But
no.
Yeah. So we
turns out they wrote for me first. Apparently, they
That's right. That's right. Moon did it first. But all of that stuff for this show and for any other shows you like, that stuff really, really does help. And I'm sure myself and anyone else that runs kind of small to mid shows like this really greatly appreciate it. Thank you very much, everyone, for listening. We'll see you next time. Bye.
Oi.
Take another drink here. Who knew working out would make you thirsty? Did you know that? Has anyone?
I have no idea what you're talking about.
Anyone written a white paper about this? It's crazy. All right. What are your titles for this week?
Okay. Move the decimal point appropriately.
That's a good one.
30 minutes to go. I have mental health problems. Relatively safe space. I like a party. And Fontgate.
I have Spooky Season, Tier 3 sub, and I like a party.
I like Spooky Season.
That's also my vote, too, because I think that's good and dumb at the same time. Which is like the TVGP motto.
Pretty much, yes.
Wow.
Girl, like, really.
The claws, Louise. The claws!
She's just like immediately asleep. Like, the microphone is covering it right now, but
it's all the way out. Angry ears and asleep.
And angry tail down here, too.
Yeah. Alright, I will spook...
Do you want to say hello?
I will spooky. I will circle Spooky Season. Hi, Louise. She's like, yeah, man, stop winging me up. Keep it down.
Pretty much, yes.
Podcast nerds.
You can go back over there and sleep on the couch that's entirely empty just for you.
No, I'm good.
Yeah, pretty much. Okay.
I'm a cat. My job is to make your life difficult.
Pretty much, yes.
Boop.
It's like I boop her nose, but she just headbutts my finger instead. Like,
that's right. Time for pets. Yep, that's me. Oh, man.
Okay, I'm ready.
Here. All right, starting in 3, 2, 1. This is That Video Game Podcast, episode 833 for October 9th, 2023. Spooky season.
It's a pass of kind, one might say.
All right. Thank you very much, everyone, for listening and watching. We greatly appreciate it. And we hope we'll see you next week. Bye.